This time, I would like to turn today's program over to Darren Cunningham with Informatica Cloud. Darren, you may begin.
Thank you. Thank you for joining today's webinar. We're excited about this month's topic. It's a extremely hot topic in 2013. Not to say it wasn't important in 2012, but powering the boundary-free enterprise. What does that mean? Why is cloud data management so top of mind? To take us through that, what this means, and some of the trends and insights, we have just a fantastic couple of speakers with us today. Mike West is with us from Saugatuck Research, and he's going to really give you the perspective from Saugatuck's view on what this means and the implications for the CIO. And then have Andrew Bartels, who's been in the role of a CIO, who will share with us some specific initiatives he's taken in his various positions to really drive better adoption of cloud applications in his organizations. So that's today's agenda, and I'm going to provide a brief overview of Informatica Cloud and how we tackle some of these challenges from a data management perspective. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Mike, to really dive in here and take us through what the Boundary for Enterprise is all about.
Thanks, Darren. I assume you're going to be passing control to me fairly soon. I'm the and distinguished analyst at Saugatuck, where I focus primarily on the boundary-free enterprise, and that means the cloud, and that means things that are changing in today's world. I began in data management back in the 80s at John Hancock Life Insurance, and I spent a time at IBM Guide and ran a group there on data-driven data administration. This is in the late 80s. Founding the Boston Area Data Administration Management Association chapter, which has evolved today into the New England chapter, and then moved to Fidelity Investments, where I headed a team of 35 data administrators, data architects, and DBAs. So I've had some firsthand experience in this area, and I'm certainly amazed at what is going on in the world today and how the challenges today are even more significant than they were back then. I'm going to hit on three themes: why hybrid, highly interwoven deployments are the new normal for enterprise IT, how the cloud is radically changing the role of enterprise IT, and data management must be a critical part of an all-cloud strategy. Now, we've done this for a long time. If you don't have data that you can depend upon, you can't make good business decisions. It's as simple as that. If you haven't around for it, you'll find it in time, and you'll lose your opportunity to act. As we've electronic transactions, we've managed the data we create so that we'll have it around when we need it for reporting, for analysis, for decision support. And we have designed data warehouses to make all of that easier. As then, now we have the cloud. Movement to the cloud is accelerating. More and more vendors transitioning their solutions, more and more enterprises using cloud solutions. Hybrid environments are popping up all over today. In 2012, Saugatuck ran a survey, worldwide survey of 228 respondents regarding preferences for deploying new business solutions. This was aimed at the C-level buyers who would be choosing among on-premises solutions, cloud solutions, or some sort of hybrid solutions, pure play cloud hybrid, and on-premises then were the three choices. And what really surprised us, if we look at 2012, we see, unsurprisingly, over half roughly of the intent to purchase was on-premises, but an equal amount was either cloud or some hybrid of cloud and on-premises solutions. But in 2014, that had dramatically shifted to cloud on-premises hybrid deployments. New business deployments rather than, existing, we're not rip and replace for the most part, but this is what new business deployment solutions will be, not what the total portfolio has been. You can see over time, moving into 2016, what this means for the on-premises portfolio from 50% in 2012, 18% purchase intent in 2014, and 2016 down to 13% new on-premises solutions being purchased for the business portfolio. At the same time, we see an increase from 10% to 19% to 39% in cloud-based pure play over that same period of time. And we see this amazing spike in 2014, hybrid solutions. So it appears that enterprises are increasingly expectant that more business and IT can be moved over to the cloud in a very short period of time, testing massive, rapid cloud use and growth from 2014 to 2016. What does that mean for data? Greater potential for unmanaged or mismanaged data. The importance of proactive data management to keep integration costs under control. But it also introduces another challenge. Because it's accessible from anywhere, we can do our work from home, from the local Starbucks, from the airport or hotel on a business trip. We have become boundary-free. Now, at the core of this new cloud reality, we have a cloud eco-stack with 5 layers. We're familiar with some of this. The infrastructure layer, as in private clouds, the business solutions layer with SaaS, and the layer between them, platforms and hubs, where we find PaaS, the development capability, yes, but also platforms for mobility, networking, data analytics, collaboration, integration, and more. A new architecture is emerging, multiple technologies and platforms that build synergies among themselves. So these social, collaborative, analytics platforms, plus the integration to on-premises data assets, linking these capabilities and join them to on-premises data. Critical money systems, of course, will still operate the firewalls on premises for the near term, but even that will be changing. As these boundary-free enterprises evolve, no two will look exactly alike and will reflect the strategies of the organizations that implement them, but all of them to any time, any place, computing. You get to see now how all this is in the game. Saga has identified 7 trends and 7 related challenges that are emerging as enterprises become boundary-free. Now, it's a team sport, and that is moving beyond individual productivity. Loose coupled business suites linking up, moving beyond individual cloud solutions. Take out of the box, beyond organizational boundaries to communities of interest. BYOD and mobile information, beyond the galley slave model and the vast sea of desktops. Deal time, moving beyond structured transaction data and decision support. The rise of the LOB Cloud, moving beyond the potted plant in the corner of the room and the new clothes, moving on just buying and managing IT assets. I'm going to touch briefly on the first 5 of these and spend a little more time on the last 2. I know Andrew's going to focus on the CIO and the role of innovation in IT and in the enterprise for business. But one of these new trends introduces issues for managing and using information, issues we need to address. Begin with the city of mobile, social, collaborative analytics, plus the integration of cloud with on-premises data. Work as a team sport, moving beyond individual productivity. Customer makes a purchase via a mobile device. Facebook's about it. data is captured. The network data is captured. It's correlated with uploaded advertising campaign data. It's others in ad and marketing departments and are formulated for the next campaign based upon the results. Text messages are sent to traveling, remotely located executives to authorize the new campaign. As we can see, mobility, social IT, collaborative IT, data analytics, integration, and ability, again, all involved in business process. So synergies occur, and often they without plans enable business operations in the boundary-free enterprise. SOC research indicates that it's the synergy between functions for any single capability or platform that delivers the collective business value. However, this depends completely upon quality and reliability of data moving back and forth in collaborative knowledge work. Synergy at the platforms level. There's also synergy at the level of applications or cloud business solutions. As we'll see in this slide, loosely coupled business suites link up, moving beyond individual cloud solutions. A while I mentioned our 2012 cloud survey. I've been doing these surveys since about 2005. One trend, loosely coupled architectures rule. For cloud business solutions is clear. Integration with on-premises assets and integration with cloud solutions. Cloud integration means connecting data must either be defined and formatted in a consistent way or translated so that the systems can talk meaningfully to one another. Approach, whether via standardization or must be understood, documented, and managed through all future needs for the use of that data. The synergy of cloud platforms and solutions means changes in how to manage workflow. So as social networks, taking work out of the box, moving beyond the organizational boundary to communities of interest. Social networks offer the potential to build decision-making around not only structured data, but also a variety of information flows. And when it is restructured to the activities of knowledge worker groups and to focus decision-making around ad hoc data, information flows, and proven best practices, care must be taken the quality of information informing those decisions. If there are a greater number and variety of data sources serving as potential inputs, the quality of those sources should be audited proactively. And not information, but people using data are moving outside the box. BYOD and information mobility, moving beyond the galley slave model and the vast sea of desktops. So mobile interfaces to enterprise solutions are not yet a major influence. They're added as afterthoughts for the most part rather than designed in. But as we see it, will be the leading force in aspects of enterprise business, driving real business and IT alignment. And through 2017, a majority of cloud solutions, their primary design objective will be full access and interaction. And knowledge workers to move outside the constraints of organizational boundaries and allowing them to bring their mobility tools with them into the workplace introduces information mobility. Both faces to cloud solutions serving multiple form factors and native mobile apps will proliferate in the enterprise, further blur the distinction between work and personal life. Blurring this distinction will slacken the resolve to ensure that data consumed by mobile solutions is to be reliable. Not only that, we also have new data to think about. Data that's real-time, moving beyond structured transaction data and decision support. The heritage of IT systems is on the one hand transaction data, the other decision support, pattern primarily from the former. It did many more complex data types than simple graphics, such as web clicks, and to that we are now adding streams of sensor data. Pro data management must be implemented to harness the information power of volume streams and to build reliable channels of access to customer information. So this collaboration, loosely coupled synergies, so it works, information mobility, time data is already transforming the way business is being done, and technology is being managed in the enterprise. The LOB Cloud, move beyond potted palms in the corner of the room. Not Salesforce CRM anymore. Business executives drove the first wave of the cloud, SaaS, to address their Salesforce administration and customer resource management needs that are still a data challenge. But the line of business interest in cloud solutions is ubiquitous. The air supply chain and internal value chain are up for grabs to the data complexity. Businesses will emerge. Non-traditional providers of technology-based solutions are extending and complementing their traditional products and services businesses with cloud solutions. More frequently, these originate within a single line of business. Now the LOB is skunkworks, but who's designing and managing the data? BYOD, policy or free-for-all. Information mobility brings a wide range of challenges, especially including data quality, that most enterprises have avoided like the plague. Flowers bloom, sometimes you get a pretty chaotic garden. A little pruning may then be in order. Hurry up, please, it's time. And the big apocalypse. For IT executives, the scariest scenario on the horizon is the advent of big data. A world in which data is so voluminous, so various, so variable, and comes streaming at us so fast, overwhelms our ability to store, manage, and mine it for value. The LOB Cloud will drive a heightened priority for data management across hybrid business solutions portfolios. The common risk factors: unmanagedly high volumes of data, chaos, messy data, structured and unstructured types, and potentially untrustworthy data, redundant and insistent, originating from a suspect source. Raise the ante for line of business management to put in or contract with the IT organization an enforceable data management policy with access to centers of excellence. Meanwhile, CIO's new clothes, moving on buying and managing technology assets. Procurement, development, and management of IT assets and solutions shifts increasingly to the line of business. The new focus of IT will be and services, broker solutions, evading and vetting solutions, architecture management, policy enforcement, information risk. The CIO is supporting more and more mobile devices, services, and applications, working with hundreds of providers, tens of thousands of devices, 10 times as many applications. Even though IT organizations will try to establish and enforce standardization of services and providers, we will still see a proliferation of both. All this means more and more reason to match data. So the enterprise liberates data resources to find more effective uses, yet whether collaboration, integration, ad hoc workflows, information, real-time data streams, line of business innovation, or IT resource allocation, achieving its potential does require meeting significant challenges. And meeting of those challenges is a trivial feat. On every single challenge is the need for data management. Many years of experience with data management have shown us successful implementation involves both skill and will. The skill be acquired through partnering with data management vendors and integrators, but requires the guiding vision of the two faces of data management, both control and access. Skill to succeed and sustain data management involves senior management commitment and organizational cooperation. Must be motivated by understanding of the value created through assuring data quality. Commit cloud data management. Manage the organizational issues. Data management provider. Manage both control and access. Approach management as value creation. The 5 best practices that we've identified for the free enterprise. I use this slide in the beginning, opened the presentation talking about the right information at the right time. Where's the runway is in delivering value to customers. That's customers. If delivered is flawed due to data corruption, or we don't even know who our customers are because our systems are hopelessly out of sync, we will certainly crash on landing. Data management is thus essential. Success in business to increase profits and lower costs, to find retaining our best employees, to build products and delivering the best solutions to, most important of all, our customers. Our SOC planning position is that from 2013 through 2017, master data management will reemerge as a critical core competency for enterprises rapidly migrating to the cloud. Well, I have to say, from the view of an old data admin guy who's looking at cases in the enterprise with the barrier-free technologies we're now exploring. I'd like to turn this to Andrew Bartels, who will give you a realistic perspective on his own challenges in dealing with some of these data issues where there meets the runway. Andrew.
Thanks, Mike. If you could pass control, I'll carry on.
And Mike, that was powerful. There were some really strong, strong messages there. I was taking some notes myself, so I'm looking forward to hearing your view, Andrew.
Absolutely, Darren. Morning, everyone. Welcome. So, background. My name is Andrew Bartels. In a past life, I was CTO of a financial services firm in the Mid-Atlantic. I'm currently working with clients to optimize their hybrid IT strategy with a focus on driving return on data and improving sales team effectiveness. But down to what Mike was saying, over my career, I've become an evangelist for the idea that the effective use and deployment of data within the enterprise is critical to the success and adoption of systems. Yet one of the most overlooked, underappreciated assets that exists in the enterprise today. My tenure at PA Insurance and Financial Services, not only were we able to deliver 100% adoption of Salesforce.com, but we were able to transition this cloud-based platform, referral system, a key success driver for the organization by effectively leveraging the data the organization already had. I want to harp on that point and emphasize that. A lot of talk resources is focused on how to enhance the existing data set with information. Yet so few organizations are even leveraging the data they have. Enabling visibility into cross-sell opportunities and establishing highly effective revenue tracking and forecasting mechanisms based on data that was otherwise hidden in on-premise systems or in the various cloud-based applications or platforms that the organization was adopting, we were able to drive top-line revenue and retention beyond industry benchmarks. The challenges we faced when we set on this journey, and believe me, it's a journey. I have a colleague that calls it a journey of decades. I sometimes think that it might be a lifetime journey for some of us, but I do believe that it is a worthwhile journey. A recent example I was involved with, the organization had a lot of data, but most was trapped inside all transactional silos with the applicable business units. It was as if the business units didn't care about their data. They did not view the data as being important beyond the day-to-day transactional and reporting needs of their business unit. As I hit above, the data was difficult to access with the EU that controlled it. Transactional systems, in my experience, are to transact and leverage data as an asset. In addition, there was no master data management strategy at the EU level, never mind on a wider enterprise level. We were just trying to get things done. The core transactions being processed, there was no real strategy to leverage this transactional data. For all intents and purposes, it stayed in the silo where it was created. And this problem. To the data silo challenge detailed in the slide, we faced the problem of what I call the firewall divide. More and more, we were putting our choice of applications to the cloud. I think that this is evidenced by the survey information provided by Mike in his part of the presentation. But to be honest, one of the things that I was challenged with very early on was that even though there were obvious operational benefits, moving applications to the cloud, one very quickly learned that gaining and maintaining access to the raw transactional data was proving a stumbling block to implementing an effective MD or data strategy. We've all heard a famous CEO state in various keynote addresses around the world, beware of the false cloud. Have access to your data, no matter where it is, on-prem or off-prem, is absolutely critical. Do not make the mistake of allowing your data to enter a system that you do not have access to. Some of the challenges. So after a long review of our strategy, we identified the following mistakes we had made. We made data as an asset. So what do I mean by that? It interests me how many organizations, and I include our own, that don't think about data as an asset. Every other resource in the enterprise is. Think plant, think real estate, think people. These are all treated with love, care, and attention. Well, sometimes. Not think of acquiring a piece of real estate or a fleet of vehicles without having policies in place to ensure that they have a place to go, a maintenance program associated with them. Yet it's all the time with data. And there was nobody responsible. Enterprise asset has somebody responsible for it. The enterprise asset has policies, residents, and processes assigned to ensure that they are managed from the moment they're acquired to the day they are sold or disposed of. Data. It's just there to be solved this problem. Nothing about data from an enterprise-wide perspective. In too many enterprises today, including one I was involved in, data is nobody's responsibility. The irony for me is that in today's interconnected, socially driven world, where customers now control the largest share of voice ever, data has master. Add that IT is losing control of the systems that drive the enterprise faster than ever. Guys, where they could control which systems were deployed into the enterprise. Today, one device to call BYOD or bring own cloud at the business unit level is making the issues surrounding data governance worse. Probably the big single problem that I see, and I definitely experienced it, IT was seen as an obstacle. To bring many business unit leaders say, it just gets in the way. See the cloud as a end run IT. In experience, they don't have time to focus on the implications of a lack of data governance. The problem in enterprise is data governance, and this is critical, is that data governance is critical to driving return on data, which is critical to staying competitive in today's global social economy. So here's news. If your strategy in place that can overcome many of the challenges faced by the enterprise, hybrid, interconnected world, you can be successful and very successful at that. You see some of the examples over a 3 to 4 period PSA using Informatica Cloud. We were able to be successful and we were able to add tremendous value. Informatica Cloud was one of the big multipliers for us. This cloud-based ETL solution enabled us to integrate the various data repositories whether on-premise or in the cloud to deploy data where needed to be leveraged by the people that needed it. Whether driving Salesforce.com adoption, by using data to position the system as a partner rather than a big brother, by exposing cross-sell visibility to our sales management team, we to leverage this technology to transform siloed data from a static resource to a multiplier. So, proof the pudding is in the eating, as African friends of mine like to say. And I think the quote in front of you from the CEO of PSA really epitomizes how successful we were at PSA. Because I think ultimately you can drive information to the people that count on the ground. Use the words of Chip Lewis, this is the Grail. So what keys to success? Up there and started collaborating. We started communicating with the BUs. Collaboration is not something that is other departments other than IT anymore. I understood that from day one, to succeed, we were going to have to get the BUs to buy in, and how collaborating on data can deliver returns for their objectives as well as the enterprise as a whole. Our CTO had to become an evangelist within the enterprise. Effectively, I run an internal marketing campaign and I refer to who your customer is. The reality for us was the BU was our customer. So let's talk about next steps. Go out there and meet with BUs and sell the concept, not only to the leaders, but people within the BU that use the data and collect the data every day. You'll identify allies with this buy into this idea that establishing that day-to-day governance has value. You have to write questions as well. To work, you need to understand what data is important to the actual user at the BU level. Saying that collecting data is good for the enterprise will not cut it. People to know what's in it for me. How will it help me hit my goals? Once I understand that collaborating with you will benefit them as well as colleagues in other BUs, I do believe that over time they will buy in. I learned a few things the hard way. I had to realize that there's certain data that people do not want to share. People have various reasons and histories associated with why this has happened, but sometimes people don't come out and say this initially. Therefore, you have to be looking for it. You have to noodle it out by asking the right questions. Ensure that you identify such data points and ensure that you do deliver on your promise to share that information. There is shareable data and non-shareable data. Let's build your plan. What we did was to make sure that we listened before we built the plan. When we share the plan, the BUs could see that their input had been noted and included. It cannot be emphasized enough what a difference this made. People need to believe that the time and effort they invest is taken into account. Otherwise, they will not see value in the ongoing process. You are build for the long term, but also focus on quick wins. We all know that a comprehensive plan not all things from all players, and in order to design a solution for the long run that is resilient and compromises are going to have to be made. However, lose sight of the fact that during the BU exploration phase, as the ability to deliver so-called quick wins to the BUs will do wonders to drive continued collaboration and compliance. Bookend the session, emphasize the following. Communication is key. It's a communication process that will help identify what data specific BUs see as valuable. Even more importantly, what data don't they have, and they value if they have it. This is gold. It's a committee. Right? That it is made up of empowered representatives of all BUs. Make sure that the committee includes not only senior BU management, but persons from within the BU that fully understand the data that need to be collected and used. That said, this committee should also include executive sponsors, because any process or initiative, when people see leadership paying attention, they pay attention. But no, not an obstacle. One of the goals of this committee is to provide leading the data integration with visibility into bring on cloud decisions that are considered by the BU. But here's the critical difference in the world. I tried to stop such deployments. In the world, deployments are going to happen whether you like it or not. They happen for the organization to remain competitive. And in my opinion, a number of these systems are going to be cloud-based, meaning that making informed decisions around how that system handles and treats your enterprise data is critical to the success of any enterprise-wide data initiative. In the world, referred to as the CTO's new clothes. In this new world, this should be your opportunity to empower the BUs to make better decisions. But they're going to make those decisions anyway. By empowering the BUs to ask questions, like does the application have a robust set of APIs that enable full access to the data? Are the enterprise integration tools supported by the application? Does the application integrate with existing systems? Is there a development framework which you can use to develop connectors if pre-built connectors don't exist? In my opinion, if you can empower the BUs to ask these critical questions, not only will you help ensure that you are not seen as a roadblock, but rather as a partner, but you are a long way to ensuring the success of your data integration policy enterprise-wide. And that, I'll hand it back over to Darren.
Well, I think you guys should go and do a bunch of seminars because it's powerful. You've lived it, you've seen it. and you've got some great insights for others in these roles tackling these challenges. So thank you. I want to just spend a minute and let everyone know, first of all, we're going to open up for some questions and encourage you, if you're on the call live with us now, you can use the chat panels to put in questions for Andrew and for Mike. I want to just give you a quick overview of Informatica Cloud and help you understand where we fit into all of this before we open it up for a panel discussion. So many of you on today's call are probably familiar with Informatica. The company's been in business for over 15 years, publicly traded, very long history, pedigree in the data management space. Our roots are really in data warehousing, supporting an analytics infrastructure. About 7 years ago, we had a vision around, I guess, what both of Andrew and Mike have been referring to, whether it's bring your own cloud or the rise of the LOB Cloud. We saw back in 2005 that, yes, sort of the phase one of software as a service application adoption was coming from the business. And often there really wasn't the IT business alignment that Andrew spoke so eloquently about. So what we needed to do early on was deliver the ability for the business to have the same agility and self-service when it came to integration, but at the same time, we recognized the need for the IT organization to have the governance and control. So both of you made some great points about IT governance, data governance, and then that need to balance, as Mike said, sort of the access and the control. And in our view, it's been sort of balancing that self-service requirement with that need to allow the IT organization to manage things like data access, who gets access to what information, when, and how. So we've really worked on balancing that by delivering simplicity from an end-user perspective, let people manage their own day-to-day tasks, often for point-to-point use cases, at the same time giving them that ability to rapidly implement an integration solution. And recently we broadened our cloud integration portfolio from Informatica Cloud Integration to Informatica Cloud Master Data Management. So both of you have spoken about the importance and significance of master data management as it relates to the cloud, and we see that too. We've really focused initially on delivering some MDM capabilities for Salesforce.com, but we're looking at broadening this and really tying it back to our core unified platform. And just on this slide I wanted to make is about that ability to really write and create your integrations once and deploy them anywhere. So we fundamentally believe in this shift, as what both of the speakers talked to about the hybrid IT enterprise. Mike showed some really interesting data about how this really what's happening now, moving to this hybrid reality. So we think it's really important to have a single platform where our customers can build things on premise, run them in the cloud, and vice versa, allow users to build some rapid integrations, bring those back in if IT wants to go further. So that's InformaticaCloud.com. And I just wanted to highlight, as Andrew mentioned, as a customer of Informatica Cloud, really what's possible. We've broadened from this self-service concept to delivering toolkits for organizations, partners as well, to build their own connectors, to really extend what you can do with our core integration platform as a service. And you can hear from our trust site, which is trust.informaticacloud.com, that we're integrating billions of records a day across systems. So really, this is a tremendous extension of what our customers have been doing historically and today with our platform, reaching out and driving some of that IT business alignment by giving that controlled or governed self-service. And you see here some of the kinds of companies that are running Informatica Cloud in various ways today. So if you want to learn more about that, you can see the URL here, informaticacloud.com, and you can get up and running on a trial literally in minutes. I want to bring back Mike and Andrew to the discussion with a few questions coming in on the panel. A few people have asked for the slides and the recording, and we will definitely be making that available. So the first question is really more of a theoretical question, and it's kind of on more thematic. And so, Mike, you might also have some questions for Andrew and vice versa, so feel free to chime in. But let's just take the first high-level question. Do you see implementing a data management or information management strategy more about the tools, like Informatica Cloud, for example, or is it more of a methodology, or is it both? Mike, I'll take that to you first.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Darren, and I certainly enjoyed listening to your presentation as well, and Andrew's terrific stuff. I imagine that Andrew would have a comment on this as well, but in my opinion, you need both methodology and tools. But I'm very impressed by the work, the CMM work that was done at Carnegie Mellon, and the whole notion of being driven ideally by repeatable, memorable, and improvable processes. So if you can put processes in place, the first state, you're doing everything for the first time, or you're inventing the wheel every time, and so on and so forth when you're just getting started with data management. But as you put some things in place, you get to methodological decisions that you want to see, as discipline. And so then you can select the tools that make that easier to do. As you have selected the tools, you get better at things. You can start to measure how effective you are in certain processes, and then you can start to improve those processes. That's the ideal situation. I probably think it's more important to start wherever you can, but if I had my choice, I'd be driven by process over tools.
Andrew, you.
I agree with everything that Mike said. I think the point that I'd like to emphasize is agility. Today, methodology is important. There's absolutely no doubt about that. And tools are absolutely critical. Because what I'm seeing is that new sources of data are being added all the time. In fact, as driving the data policy for the firm, or for you may not even know about it, and it's done. And so your selection of tools and your selections of methodologies is absolutely critical. It's absolutely critical that they be agile, because you literally are not going to know what you're going to ask to do next. And that business is done at the web today. Well, you look at how data can enter the enterprise and how people want to leverage that data. If you're a partner in the business, and if you're going to deliver on that return on data that I like to talk about, then you're going to have to make sure that both your tools and your methodologies are incredibly agile.
That's something that drove Informatica Cloud and this overall approach to us. We didn't just say, and there's some questions coming in about how is Informatica Cloud different than Power Center, which is our core on-premise technology for integrating data. We see it as really as an extension of Power Center. It's a complementary set of capabilities. But one element that always has stuck in my mind, we had one of our customers speaking at the Salesforce conference a couple of years ago, actually with you, Andrew. And look, I can add a field to Salesforce.com in 5 seconds. And he was a sales operations manager. He said it takes 6 months to get data into that field because I have to go through a long, drawn-out process with IT. What's the point? So this is really driving some of that adoption of these SaaS apps and even management of these SaaS apps outside of IT. And I've got the bird challenge, the opportunities for IT to really work with that and deliver that need for speed in a well-governed, well-managed way. So that's how we've seen it. And I don't know, Andrew, anything specific you would say? There was actually a question about, does Informatica Cloud support both data application integration for both synchronous and asynchronous transfer methods? So I can that one.
Yeah, I just like to add on to your last comment as well. I think the goal that you make is so true, because in my slides, but in so many ways is being seen as an obstacle. And it's been an obstacle exactly for that. You can add a field to Salesforce 3 minutes. But that from an integration point of view, you as an obstacle, and the result is going to be that the business units are going to go out and get their own and their own thing. And my experience has been that the ramifications for the overall enterprise data policy, it's disastrous. So I think that is critical. To answer the second question, yes. I mean, Informatica Cloud can accommodate all sorts of functionality that can allow almost real-time integration, scheduled integration. And I think it depends very much on the data and what the use case is for the data. And a little bit like adding a field in Salesforce. It's very easy to do, but what's more important is spend some time thinking about why you need this data. What is the function of this data? What is the future of this data inside the enterprise? And I think when you look at real-time versus potentially batch-style integration, the question that you have to ask yourself is, do you really need real-time integration? Or can you do this in a more organized way through batches? So that'd be my answer, Darren.
To add to that, Mike, on the governance, I think there's going to be a lot more written about how does, I mean, great, IT wants to do this, but how? And you talked about loosely coupled systems, and some of the trends are, when you started talking about the apocalypse of big data, I mean, it's pretty daunting. Are there some things that, you should do tomorrow? I guess you had the one slide we can pull back, we can go back to. Any real term guidance for folks on the call who want to go and have an impact immediately?
Well, there's on. I mean, in which direction do you want to take on the challenge? Because that's where if you have a proactive approach towards data management, and you take a step back and you say, well, our business, these are the things that are changing rapidly, and these are the things we need to be able to respond to rapidly. And I'm saying this because I agree with what both said about adding data and feeling that data management function or IT is somehow impeding the business getting the enterprise done. That, of course, can potentially lead to chaos, as Ann points out. You're proactive towards data management if you deliberately design processes that are facilitative rather than impeding. I mean, it's one thing if you're in a bureaucratic organization, culturally, and it's impossible to do it any other way than bureaucratically. Well, that's one thing. But a lot of organizations today are looking at these challenges and saying, we want to be nimble, we want to enable the business, we want to see them make more money, we don't want to get in their way. That's what I would urge in putting data management in place. Look at the organizations, identify where those pressures are going to be for rapid response. Where is the greatest amount of change going on in terms of demand for data, and be demand-driven, on both the control and the access side.
Great. Yeah, there's lots of questions coming in there. I mean, I thought Informatica's IT organization did some interesting things. We're very much a business unit driven organization, and recognize that. We're actually a classic case where 5 or 6 years ago, the GM of our cloud business bought Salesforce on his credit card. Since then, we've rolled out Salesforce to over 1,000 users, so we've come a long way. One of the use cases for our cloud master data management solution is actually to manage multiple orgs of the same apps solution. So if you have many, not just many applications to contend with, but many of the same. So we have customers who have 50, 60, 70 orgs of Salesforce, looking at ways to manage that. So that's a case we've seen for cloud master data management. The other is I thought that our IT team did quite well was creating governance policies. So they allow me to make some decisions on my own out in the business, but when it comes to security and privacy and the things that they know how, and even SLAs and vendor management, the questionnaires that I need to fill out before I move down the path with a vendor. So they've given me some autonomy, but also it's helping me make good decisions when it comes to rolling out applications in the business. Best practice, I guess, Andrew, as you go out and talk to other companies, and spoke a lot about aligning with the business units. Do that from them? And is this IT sort of angst from the business changing, or does it company by company and culture dependent?
I think it's company, but I think that I'm hearing more and more now that IT, unfortunately, in many cases, is seen as an obstacle. And I think that, you bring up a great point that, if you have governance policies in place where you have to go through a process to procure, that's great. I think in this new cloud-driven environment where, as you point out, and I love that, that you can actually bring on an enterprise system, which, as an example, is Salesforce, with the swipe of an Amex card, is quite unbelievable. When you look at some of the systems that people are deploying, you look at the marketing space and things like that, almost all these systems are based. And the business is just, they're absolutely loving this because they can get it done without going through that bureaucratic process, without going through the normal procurement lanes. And saying, look, we need to get this done. We need to get this done because we need to hit our end of quarter. They can't wait 3 months. I think in some cases they can't even wait 2 months. They're just done, and I think they have the budget, they have the internal resources, they're getting it done, and for them it works well. The problems start when you start to think about the wider strategy, and you start to think about how can you cross-pollinate this data? How does this data fit into the overall enterprise strategy? That's where you start to run into issues. And you mentioned the organization that had X amount of orgs of Salesforce.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely representing a new era of data fragmentation. So let me give you both a quick chance to summarize, maybe give us some final thoughts. Mike, any last words for today's attendees on what to do when they get off this call? And I'll give it over to you, Andrew, to wrap it.
Wow, 18 words or less.
Yeah.
You got to do something. The trick is to really understand the culture of your organization and what the pressure points are. Where is the pain being felt? If in fact it's, as Andrew described, a sense that IT is away, you make it easier for lines of business to get their needs met in terms of systems that will process their basic functions. Then you have to answer the question, what about sharing the results of that data with other parts of the organization that may behave differently toward it? And questions, raise a whole series of, discussion points around how are we going to share data across organizational lines. And I'll leave it with that.
Great.
From my point of view, I need to focus on being a partner. I think they realize that the landscape has changed, but at the time, they're an incredibly invaluable part of the organization. The way that we approach information, the way we approach our interactions with the business units has changed. I think in the past it was very autocratic. I think now it has shifted. Like in the social space, the voice of the customer is now probably the loudest voice. Within the enterprise, the voice the business units need are now louder than ever. And I think that, fortunately or unfortunately, if IT doesn't adapt and provide the tools in an agile way for the business units to get done what they need to get done, they find themselves sidelined. And I think for the enterprise as a whole, that's a bad thing. So I'd leave it to Darren.
Wow. Again, I think you two need to go on the road. This is a seminar series for for companies of all sizes. Thank you for your great passion and insights. I want to let people know they can, if they're interested in how integration can play into this and learn more about Informatica Cloud, you can go to the website here and literally get started right away with our trial. So I'll leave it at that. And thank you all for attending, and good luck really tackling your data management challenges in the era of the boundary-free enterprise, or what we call hybrid IT. So thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. This concludes today's web conference. You may disconnect.